Killarney is where Ireland condensed the lakes, the mountains, the castles, and the Victorian estates into the single valley, added the UNESCO designation, and somehow kept the whole thing accessible without turning it into the theme park. While the rest of Ireland scattered the attractions across the counties and the weather, Killarney concentrated the 25,000-acre national park, the 3 massive lakes, and the medieval ruins within the bicycle distance of the pubs. We're talking about the town where the jaunting cars still clip-clop through the 19th century estates, where the oak forests survived since the Ice Age, and where the 3,000-foot mountains drop straight into the glacial lakes. This isn't the Ireland of the Dublin crowds or the cliffs of Moore tour buses. This is the Ireland where the red deer roam the ancient woodlands. Yeah, it's where the waterfalls plunge into the moss-covered gorges, and where the gap carved by the glaciers still looks like the fantasy novel setting. So grab the rain jacket because the weather changes hourly and the scenery is relentless. Killarney National Park is the 25,000-acre reserve where the UNESCO status, the native oak forests, and the 3 lakes create the Ireland's first national park. The park, established in 1932, protects the last extensive native woodland in Ireland, including the ancient oak and yew forests. The 3 lakes, Loughlin, Muckross Lake, and Upper Lake, cover 5,000 acres connected by the channels and the rapids. The park contains the Ireland's only wild herd of native red deer, numbering over 1,000 animals. The ecosystem includes the rare species like the Killarney fern and the Kerry slug found nowhere else. The Victorian estates, including Muckross House and the gardens, sit within the boundaries. The hiking trails range from the lakeside strolls to the mountain climbs. The park admission remains free, though the estate tours charge fees. The weather changes hourly, requiring the layered clothing and the rain gear. Visit year-round, with the spring offering the wildflowers, and the fall displaying the autumn colors, though the rain is constant. Have you walked the ancient oak forests, where the UNESCO park protects the last native woodlands, and the red deer still roam free in Ireland's first national park? Muckross House is the Victorian mansion where the 1843 architecture, the formal gardens, and the working farms create the 19th century estate experience. The house was built for the Henry Arthur Herbert family in 1843, with the 65 rooms showcasing the Victorian wealth. The interior displays the period furniture, the artwork, and the craftsmanship preserved in the original condition. The formal gardens, covering 60 acres, include the rock garden, the rhododendron collection, and the azalea displays. The traditional farms demonstrate the 1930s rural life with the working blacksmith, the thatcher, and the farm animals. The guided tours explain the upstairs-downstairs Victorian society and the servants' daily routines. The location on the Muckross Lake provides the stunning backdrop. But the Queen Victoria visited in 1861, though the expense of preparing for the visit bankrupted the family. Visit from March to October for the gardens in bloom, or year-round for the house tours. Have you toured the 65-room mansion, where the Victorian estate and the 60-acre gardens bankrupted the family preparing for the Queen Victoria's 1861 visit? Ross Castle is the 15th century tower, where the lakeside location, the O'Donoghue stronghold, and the boat access create the medieval fortress experience. The castle was built in the late 15th century by the O'Donoghue Moore clan as the lakeside stronghold. The tower house stands 4 stories tall with the defensive walls and the surrounding bawn. The castle held out until 1652 against the Cromwellian forces, making it one of the last Irish castles to surrender. The legend says the O'Donoghue sleeps beneath the lake and rides across the waters every 7 years. The restored interior displays the 16th and 17th century furnishings. The boat trips to Innisfallen Island depart from the castle jetty. The guided tours explain the defensive features and the clan history. The lakeside location provides the photogenic setting with the mountains beyond. Visit from March to October for the interior tours or year-round for the exterior and the grounds. Have you climbed the 15th century tower where the O'Donoghue stronghold held against Cromwell? And the legend says the chieftain still rides the lake every 7 years? Torque Waterfall is the 60-foot cascade where the mountain stream, the moss-covered rocks, and the woodland setting create the fairy tale waterfall. The falls drop 60 feet through the series of cascades into the Owen-Gareth River. The waterfall flows year-round with the highest volume during the winter and the spring rains. The paved pathway from the car park requires the 10-minute uphill walk through the oak woodland. The viewing platform provides the close-up views, though the spray can drench the visitors. The surrounding woodland creates the enchanted atmosphere, with the moss covering the rocks and the trees. The waterfall serves as the starting point for the Torque Mountain Trail, climbing 1,764 feet to the summit. The Old Kenmare Road walking path passes near the base. And the crowds increase during the summer, requiring the early arrival for the parking. Visit after the rain for the maximum flow, or year-round for the woodland atmosphere. Have you climbed the moss-covered path where the 60-foot cascade plunges through the enchanted oak woodland into the mountain river? Gap of Dunloe is the glacial valley where the narrow pass, the jaunting car tradition, and the 5-mile route create the dramatic mountain crossing. The gap cuts through the McGillicuddy's Reeks and the Purple Mountain formed by the glacial erosion. The route climbs 800 feet over 5 miles, passing the 5 small lakes between the towering cliffs. The traditional access is by the jaunting car, horse and cart, though the cyclists and the hikers also use the route. The road remains narrow and winding, with the limited vehicle access keeping it peaceful. The summer traffic can create the bottlenecks with the horses, the cyclists, and the walkers sharing the route. The Kate Kearney's cottage at the entrance serves the refreshments and the souvenirs. The boat tours combine the gap with the lake cruises for the full-day circuit. The views include the mountain peaks, the glacial lakes, and the rocky passes. Visit from May to September for the jaunting cars and the clear weather avoiding the winter closure. Have you jaunted through the glacial gap where the horse carts still carry the visitors between the towering cliffs and the 5 mountain lakes? If you're captivated by Killarney's concentrated beauty from the Victorian estates to the glacial valleys, smash that subscribe button because we're halfway through and the viewpoints are still coming. Like, comment, and share if the Emerald Isle scenery is calling you. Ladies' View is the panoramic viewpoint where the 3 Lakes Vista, the Queen Victoria's Ladies, and the photo opportunity create the iconic Killarney scene. The viewpoint sits on the N71 ring of Kerry Road, offering the sweeping views of the 3 lakes and the mountains. The name comes from the 1861 visit when Queen Victoria's ladies-in-waiting were enchanted by the vista. The view encompasses Laughlin, Muckross Lake, and the upper lake with the McGillicuddy's Reeks beyond. The car park and the viewing platform accommodate the tour buses and the private vehicles. The gift shop and the cafe serve the refreshments and the souvenirs. The sunrise and the sunset offer the best light, though the crowds increase during these times. The weather dramatically affects the visibility, requiring the clear days for the full panorama. The location serves as the stopping point on the Ring of Kerry tours. Visit on the clear morning for the best light and the fewer crowds. Have you photographed the 3-lake panorama where Queen Victoria's ladies stopped in 1861 and the view became Killarney's most famous vista? Innisfallen Island is the monastic site where the 7th century abbey, the boat access, and the woodland trails create the peaceful island retreat. The island sits in Laughlin, accessible only by the boat from Ross Castle. The monastery was founded in the 7th century, becoming the center of learning and the manuscript production. The Annals of Innisfallen, the chronicle of Irish history, were written here between 1092 and 1320. The abbey ruins date from the 12th and 13th centuries with the Romanesque doorway and the church walls remaining. The island covers 21 acres with the woodland trails exploring the ruins and the shoreline. The deer sometimes swim to the island from the mainland. The 30-minute visit allows the exploration, though the longer stays offer the solitude. The boat trips operate from March to October, weather permitting. A visit from May to September for the reliable boat service and the pleasant walking conditions. Have you boated to the 7th century island where the monks wrote the Irish chronicles and the abbey ruins hide in the woodland on the 21-acre retreat? St. Mary's Cathedral is the neo-Gothic church where the 280-foot spire, the 1855 construction, and the Pugin design create the Killarney landmark. The cathedral was designed by the Augustus Pugin, architect of the British Parliament, and completed in 1855. The spire rises 280 feet, making it visible across the town and the surrounding countryside. The interior features the limestone columns, the stained glass windows, and the vaulted ceilings in the Gothic Revival style. The cathedral survived the Great Famine construction period with the funding from local contributions. The Herbert Chapel contains the elaborate carvings and the family memorials. The organ from the 19th century still functions for the services and the concerts. The location on Cathedral Place sits between the town center and the national park. The admission remains free, though the donations support the maintenance. Visit year-round with the services on Sundays and the occasional concerts throughout the year. Have you admired the 280-foot Pugin Spire, where the neo-Gothic cathedral built during the famine became the Killarney landmark visible for miles? Killarney Town Centre is the Victorian core where the jaunting cars, the traditional pubs, and the tourist shops create the gateway town. The town developed as the service centre for the national park and the Victorian tourists. The High Street and the Main Street contain the shops selling the Aran sweaters, the Waterford crystal, and the endless souvenirs. The traditional pubs offer the live music sessions most nights during the summer season. The jaunting cars line the streets waiting for the park tours, with the drivers offering the colourful commentary. The restaurants range from the traditional Irish to the international cuisine. The Killarney Brewing Company and the distilleries offer the tastings. The town population of 15,000 swells with the summer tourists. The pedestrian-friendly layout makes the walking easy. Visit year-round, with the summer offering the music and the festivals, and the winter providing the quieter pub atmosphere. Have you negotiated the jaunting car drivers, where the Victorian town-turned-tourist gateway still delivers the traditional music and the gateway to the national park? Kerry Way Trail is the 125-mile loop where the Ireland's longest waymarked trail, the mountain passes, and the coastal sections create the multi-day hiking challenge. The trail circumnavigates the Iveragh Peninsula, with the Killarney section offering the most dramatic terrain. The route passes through the Killarney National Park, climbs the mountain passes, and follows the old roads and the pathways. The trail is marked with the yellow walking man signs, though the navigation skills help in the remote sections. The typical completion requires 9 to 11 days, though the day sections from Killarney are popular. The route passes the lakes, the waterfalls, the mountain views, and the rural villages. The accommodation ranges from the B&Bs to the camping, though the booking ahead is essential. The May to September weather offers the best conditions, though the rain is inevitable. The Black Valley section provides the most remote and the scenic terrain. Visit from May to September for the accommodation availability and the longer daylight. Have you tackled the 125-mile loop where Ireland's longest trail circles the peninsula and the Killarney section delivers the national park drama? So there you have it, 10 destinations in Killarney that prove Ireland can concentrate the scenery, the history, and the Victorian charm into the single valley without overdoing the theme park approach. From the 25,000-acre national park, where the native oak forests and the red deer survived into the modern era, to the Victorian estates where the families bankrupted themselves for the Queen's visits, from the medieval castles rising from the lake shores to the glacial gaps where the jaunting cars still carry the tourists. Like the 19th century never ended, Killarney is the Ireland that delivers. The lakes still reflect the mountains, the waterfalls still plunge through the moss-covered woodlands, and the Monk's Island ruins still offer the escape from the tour buses. The rain will soak you, the jaunting car drivers will charm you, and the scenery will justify every soggy moment. If Killarney's concentrated Irish beauty called to you, smash that subscribe button for more destinations that pack the entire country's highlights into one valley. Drop a comment telling me which Killarney experience you're attempting. Are you Team Victorian elegance at Muckross House and the Formal Gardens? Team Medieval Adventures at Ross Castle and the Monastic Islands? Or Team Natural Drama in the Gap of Dunlow and the Mountain Trails?